What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Going the Distance podcast presented by ImmaculateSports.com. Twitter's at ImmacSports.
Instagram is also at ImmacSports.
TikTok, YouTube, Immaculate Sports. It's episode 252. We know the All-Star teams. Craziness throughout the entire NBA offseason. And we'll check in on a big trade that happened in the football season, too. But this is mainly catching back up on the news this week, Kyle.
Yeah, we weren't able to do any of the NBA or NFL stuff that we wanted to do last week because we were doing our midseason check-in in the MLB. So we're getting back into that stuff. And then we're talking about some fun, subjective lists, which are usually our favorite thing to do on here, where it's no right and wrong. It's just what you like. And we'll get into those a bit later. I'll start off with my opener, though. And I'm sure Skylar liked this as well, too. On Wednesday of last week, I want to say we got news that Jacob Wilson will be starting the All-Star game at shortstop for the American League. Jacob Wilson seems to be a mainstay of my opener for me. And despite having a rough last month or so, Jacob Wilson will start the All-Star game for the American League. The first A to win a fan vote since Josh Donaldson back in 2014, I want to say. And that wasn't the only A's All-Star, not a starter, but somewhat surprisingly, Brent Rooker made it to the All-Star game. Maybe this was partially because of his snub last year. I want to say last year he was posting like a 930 OPS at the All-Star break and didn't make it. Proceeded to go on to win the AL Silver Slugger for the DH position. Maybe he could do that again this year. But it does feel like Brent Rooker is getting into that perennial All-Star type feel of player, which is cool to say because he's locked up for the A's for a while and should be there for a long time. So for the first time in a long time, I think you can finally say that the A's have a perennial All-Star in Brent Rooker.
We got a core, man. That's a start. Now let's find some arms. So this week for me, it's been mostly about waiting for College Football 26 to come out. So I've been thinking a lot about the college football season, and we both decided this was not the time to start breaking down previews. But there is one thing we can talk about, the transfer portal, because there are a couple surprise teams, schools that have been killing it in the transfer portal, expected to have massive seasons. And I just can't help but wonder how a team like Texas Tech, who has the most 4-stars coming in, 13 of them, and at one point they had the number one class, that team's going to be stacked in a very confusing Big 12. Now LSU has retaken them. They have less 4-stars, but they just jumped them. They got a couple of defensive 4-stars who will most likely be playing for them pretty soon. Miami's number 3. I'm sure Carson Beck coming over helps a lot with that. They also are bringing 9 new 4-stars over. A couple usuals, Ole Miss and Oregon. Oregon got a 5-star who played 1 year at Nevada last year, Isaiah Worlds, if you know him. And he realized a year in, this is not the place to develop for the NFL. So he is now going to Oregon. Round out the top 10, we got Florida State, Missouri, who's bringing in a new quarterback this season. Brady Cook is a Jet now. Auburn, always a good recruiting spot over there. Number 9, North Carolina, Bill Belichick putting in the work. And then how about Bordeaux's Kentucky Wildcats at number 10? So a lot of new faces bringing in great talent. That's the positives of the crazy transfer portal.
So my question is this like just their high school rankings? Because if it was like
updated,
Nico, like he's a 5-star, of course.
Now he's worth a 4.
Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. Same with Carson Beck. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Now we'll get into our player, pitcher, rookie of the week, because we always do. Player of the week had some interesting candidates here. Who do you end up choosing?
Yeah, this was a tough one. I decided to go with Jose Altuve because he did a lot in the sweeping of the Dodgers this week. It was pretty cool. 6 extra base hits in 6 games, 3 homers, 10 ribbies. And they're sitting 6.5 games over Seattle still, and they don't even have Jeremy Pena, arguably their best player, so at least position player. So I'm going to give it to Altuve. Did a lot in sweeping the Dodgers.
My player of the week is going to be Michael Busch. He goes 10 for 20. It's 2 doubles, has 4 homers, 3 of them in a single game, has 6 RBIs for a Cubs lineup that is doing what that Cubs lineup does, and they just hit the shit out of the ball. Pitcher of the week is a little bit more obvious, I think, for me. Who'd you choose here?
Yeah, I got to go with Zach Wheeler. After I called him out last week for having what I thought was the best National League season, he goes out, follows it up with a complete game against Cincinnati. One hit allowed. That was a homer, but it didn't matter because he had 12 more strikeouts and he's pitching as well as anybody in baseball right now.
Yeah, Zach Wheeler, my pitcher of the week as well too. He was a Austin Hayes homer away from being perfect in Philly on Sunday. I want to say complete game. Doesn't get the shutout, of course, unfortunately, but 0 walks and 12 strikeouts. He is boringly good, is what I will say is about Zach Wheeler. He goes out there and dominates each and every time he's out there. Very happy to have him on my fantasy team. Rookie of the week. Some interesting choices here. Who'd you choose?
I decided to stick with pitching because that seemed like the big theme of the week. So how about Cade Horton? Quietly been pretty good for the Cubs when he's not playing in Houston. Adds on another 7-inning shutout against Cleveland. It is Cleveland, but he did his job, man. No Justin Steele. Somebody's got to step up, and he's in the rotation every week.
My rookie of the week, I didn't want to put it as this guy, but I do think he deserves it. It's going to be Jason Dominguez, the Martian. He goes 8 for 18, hits a double, a triple, 2 homers, 3 RBIs, and adds on 2 stolen bases as well, too. Maybe it's his 3-homer game against the A's that maybe not want to put him on here a couple months ago, but he does make it over Kurtz, Agustin Ramirez, and all the pitchers as well, too, that had some solid starts. As we move on, we're getting into our winners and losers of the NBA offseason. In some previous episodes, we did it for specific moves. We've had too many things happen within the past 2 weeks to just go over each specific move and the winners and losers of that. So we're doing it as a whole. We'll get started with the winners on your side, Skyler. Who's coming out positive in the NBA offseason?
We'll start off with Houston. The Rockets did what they had to do. They brought in KD, Clint Capella, Finney Smith. They extend Jabari Smith, Tari Eason, and Fred as well. So I don't know if I'm going to pick them to win the Western Conference or anything like that, but they sure believe they're capable now with the guys they brought in. Keep going?
Yeah, go ahead. You can go through yours.
All right. Next one. How about the Denver Nuggets? They trade for Cam Johnson, and they convince Valanciunas to stay in America for one more year. That was quietly a pretty huge headline this week. So I think the Nuggets are going to love this new lineup, some more shooting around Jokic. So I'm pretty excited to see if they can get over the hump of OKC next season. A couple more Eastern Conference teams as a winner for me. How about Atlanta? They trade for Kristaps Porzingis. Also, they get Nickeil Alexander-Walker on a sign and trade. It seems like a perfect fit. And it also feels like the Hawks might actually play some defense this year. It's been a while since those great Hawks teams were in the playoffs. One last team I wanted to shout out, Washington Wizards. They got a bunch of junk off of their roster, and they trade for Cam Whitmore from Houston, a guy I like a lot. As soon as some of these bad contracts are gone, they had to eat some money from guys like Middleton and McCollum. As soon as they expire, this is a breakout candidate.
Yeah. I'll start off with the few that I also had on here. Starting with the Atlanta Hawks, who I think is a big winner so far. They added Nickeil Alexander-Walker on a good 4-year deal. Trade for Kristaps Porzingis. Signed Luke Kennard as well, too. They did lose Clint Capella, Karis LeVert, and Terrence Mann. But overall, this seems like a big net positive for them. Also, not saying that they're going to be a title contender, but they look decent. It could be a team that slides for that 5th or 4th seed in the Eastern Conference. Next up, the Denver Nuggets. You mentioned as well too. They lose Michael Porter Jr. or bringing Cam Johnson, who is pretty much everything better than Michael Porter except for shooting. Cam Johnson plays defense as well too. Shoots the shit out of the ball still, so I think that's pretty important with him. They also had Bruce Brown, who was on that championship team a few years ago, as well as Jonas Valanciunas, who, like you said, they convinced to not go to Greece for a year and will play for the Denver Nuggets, as well as Tim Hardaway Jr., which I think is a big add. Next up, the Houston Rockets. We talked about this previously, so I'm not going to harp on it too much, but they add KD and supplement it with adding DFS and Clint Capella as well, too. I think the Rockets have done good in this offseason so far, and especially on making sure that the workload for Şengün is not going to be super high, especially during the regular season, and having the talent drop off from him not be that bad either with their other guys that they added. 2 teams that Skyler didn't mention that I didn't want to talk about First of which is the Dallas Mavericks. Of course, they added Cooper Flag in the draft. That mattered, of course. And then added D'Lo. They did lose Spencer Dinwiddie, but I do think D'Lo fits a bit better for what they're trying to do over there. And if Kyrie and AD now, who was actually also hurt now, recover well enough and they're healthy by the playoffs next year and they get in, they're going to be a force to reckon with, and definitely going to be a title contender if they're all healthy come next April. And then the last team, I'll go with the Oklahoma City Thunder. They haven't lost anyone except for I'm blanking on his name, but a guy that barely even played for them. They won the chip, and you don't lose anybody. That's often not how things go in any sport. Usually, after you win your championship, that's the year when guys' contracts start hitting the wall, and you have to get rid of a guy, and you can't sign some people. The Oklahoma City Thunder are in a great spot right now. They don't lose any of their big guys, and they're going to be a force to be reckoned with for a long time, as we know. What about the other side of it, though, Skyler? Who's losing this NBA offseason?
Yeah, I think we got to start off with the Brooklyn Nets. I don't like Michael Porter Jr. going there at all. It just doesn't make sense when the whole point of this thing is to bring in guys that you can trust, and you trade the only guy you can trust, Cam Johnson, for a guy with chronic back issues who misses a lot of games. I don't like that. I don't like that they made 5 picks in the first round, and I didn't really like any of them. And there's really nothing here outside of Claxton who might get traded. After that, I have our Golden State Warriors. They haven't made a single move yet. And even though they have one of the most interesting pieces of the offseason, Jonathan Kuminga, there's reports that they financially couldn't do anything yet. They had to wait until July, and now they're going to try to do it. I don't care, man. You don't want to overspend on another team I'll get to here like they did, but you got to do something. So we'll check back in with the Warriors next week, hopefully. I wanted to avoid teams with injuries, but I still think the Pacers were losers this offseason because they lost Miles Turner. So they're going to be a really rough watch this year because obviously Halliburton won't be playing either. That's it, man. It's just Siakam and a bunch of combo guards. So see how that goes. And my biggest loser, I shouldn't say biggest, my last big loser of the offseason, Sacramento Kings. Is it just me, or is it a really bad idea to give a bunch of money to Dennis Schroeder and Dario Saric? This team is going absolutely nowhere. This is what I mean when I'm talking about maybe the Warriors aren't making the worst play in the league by not giving big money to guys that don't deserve it. At least they're not doing this because, we watched Schroeder last year. He's not worth $30 million.
First team I'll start off with my 3 is a team you mentioned as well, too. Golden State Warriors. Literally haven't done anything. Quite literally haven't done anything. They lose Kevon Looney as well, too.
Yep.
However, I did see the past 3 years that the Warriors made their first offseason move on July 8th. Today is July 8th, so maybe we're getting something later in the day, and it'll probably just be like some shitty forward. But regardless, Warriors haven't done anything. They definitely land as a loser so far. Next up, another team you mentioned, the Indiana Pacers. Miles Turner's gone. Halliburton's out next year. After that, we're going to see Nembhard, Nesmith, guys like that, perhaps going for bigger contracts as well too. Yeah. Especially with the expanded roles this next year that they might get, and they're probably going to be averaging more than they usually would, and could potentially push them into a different pay tier. So I think we might see the Pacers tank this next year and do the best to get that dude that's going number 1. But the Brooklyn Nets probably will have it already, so it'll be tough to get. Last team I have on here, I did want to talk about the Phoenix Suns, the team that you didn't mention. They added some pieces, but they lose KD, and I think you can really definitively say that the competitive window for this franchise is officially over. We've seen the Suns really kind of be pathetic for most of our lifetimes, I think we can say. This past couple year stretch, going back to when they made the finals in 2021, was honestly one of the best franchise moments in their history. Now it seems like they're going back to the depths that they were in the post-Steve Nash era. And Devin Booker will probably be gone at some point as well, too.
I did like that they gave him the extension. I think that saves the F grade for me. Maybe they're just like a D+ now, slightly above the fails of before.
Moving on, though, we'll get into the big football trade that we got this past week. Not often do we see player-for-player deals in the league, but we saw Jalen Ramsey and Johnny Smith go over to the Pittsburgh Steelers in exchange for Minkah Fitzpatrick. Who are the winners and losers of this trade?
For me, the big winner so far is going to be Jonnu Smith. He's been great everywhere he's ended up. And this is a pretty big situation now with Aaron Rodgers. It's not a secondary role. This guy's going to be asked to do a lot for them. So I think this is a great opportunity for him to keep making big money. Another big winner is going to be Miami's locker room culture. Minkah Fitzpatrick seems like the perfect guy to come back there. There's been a lot of issues in Miami, basically ever since Nick Saban was there and all the bullying shit. But again, there's like a second wave of this sadness in the Miami locker room. And it's a pretty high return for a guy like Jalen Ramsey.
My winners, I'm going to start off with Jalen Ramsey. I think he goes to a very complete defense in Pittsburgh. I saw a tweet. This is before we knew Minkah Fitzpatrick was going back in that trade. But it listed all the guys in that Pittsburgh defense. And all three levels, you got guys that are legitimate stars. I think it's a very experienced group as well, too. They know what they're going to be asked from. And Jalen Ramsey might be looking at a really big year in Pittsburgh. And I think that defense is going to be tough for any team to go against. Next winner, I'll go Miami tight end room. And I guess front office. From this trade, they do lose Jonnu Smith, but they add Darren Waller, essentially. So I think they pretty much like that exchange. Darren Waller, a year off, maybe he's washed, but in all the years that he's played, he's looked to be a pretty damn good player. And if he's coming back as the Raiders, Darren Waller, in that offense with Mike McDaniel, you're looking at a probably pretty good player, Pro Bowl level tight end. And the last one I have is NFL fans in late June. It's usually the most boring time of the year, right before training camp, where we don't have any news. We get a blockbuster player-for-player trade that felt like it was like continuously unraveling. It had like 2 hours where it was like Jalen Ramsey is traded. Like, oh my God, what's the return? What's the return? 30 minutes later, Minkah Fitzpatrick's part of the deal. 10 minutes later, oh, Johnny Smith's actually also part of the deal. And then 30 minutes later, oh, Darren Waller is actually coming out of retirement and being traded to the Dolphins as well, too. So this is a little crazy morning that we had there. And you don't get that too often in the NFL in June. So shout out to these teams for being ridiculous. On to the loser side. What do you got?
My first loser is going to be Mike Tomlin. I think it's going to be fun at first, but having that many egos in one building might be the thing that finally breaks Tomlin. This feels like the kind of trade that one of our teams would make, not the Steelers. So basically this thing could explode. I think there's a lot more risk involved on the Pittsburgh side. It definitely feels more of a cap dump thing for Miami. So I'm going to say that overall the Steelers are going to end up being the losers here.
My loser, I'll start off with Minkah Fitzpatrick. I can tell we got a bit of different takes here, but he's going back to his old team that he got traded from, and he didn't request to trade. And I think he ends up going to a worse team in Miami. We saw Miami have to deal with a ton of different cap issues within the past few years, and it's really limited their roster building capabilities in the past 2 seasons. And I think for Minkah Fitzpatrick, he was in a great spot in Pittsburgh as far as knowing his assignment. I know he didn't have the greatest year last year, but in that defense as a whole, you really, I would say, can slack off, but you can relax a little bit knowing the guys around you are really good. In Philly, or not in Philly, you'd be fine. But in Miami, you can't do that. You've lost Xavier Howard over the past couple of years. You've lost Jalen Ramsey now as well, too. You lost Andrew Van Ginkel a couple. Alex, wait, I'm complete NFL offseason. Is it Alex or Andrew Van Ginkel?
Andrew.
Yeah, Andrew. Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. I don't know why I was tripping there. But I don't know why I was tripping. But yeah, they've lost a ton of guys over the past few years. Jalen Phillips has been battling injuries. Javon Holland's now out of there as well, too. I think Miami's defense could be rough, and Minkah Fitzpatrick's going to be obviously the leader of that group, but he's going into a new place in late June and going to have a whole bunch of different things to do. And the last loser I have is Ian Rappaport. He
Oh,
was on vacation when this was going on, so he had to take a break from his vacation to report this news. I'm sure he still enjoyed his vacation, and I think he even tweeted about it, like, that's just what the duty calls or whatever. But yeah, sorry, Ian, that you had to take a little break from your vacation to report about one of the biggest blockbuster trades that we've had in June in NFL history. Anyways, moving on from that, we're doing a fun couple of lists here. We're doing a couple of top tens of our must-see pitchers and must-see hitters. I talked about this a little bit last week. I believe I was talking about Chase Burns when I said that he is already one of like the most must-see pitchers in the league right now, where you have to watch this guy play. You're excited to watch him hit, or not hit, excited to watch him pitch. Sorry, I just saw Jack Taglione hit his first Royals homer after he looks like he cut his hair or whatever. But yeah, we're doing our must-see pitchers first and then into our must-see hitters. And perfect thing about this list is it's completely subjective. Just because a guy's good doesn't mean you like watching him. Just because a guy's bad doesn't mean you hate watching him. So maybe these lists will get a little funky. We'll start off with some honorable mentions because I had quite a few honorable mentions, unfortunately.
I ended up scrapping my list a couple of times and moved honorable mentions into the lineup. So I don't.
All right. I'll say first a ton of relievers. I didn't put any relievers on my list. But Mason Miller, Edwin Diaz, Ryan Helsley's fun to watch as well too. A bunch of different guys. Then I have about 10 starters that I was like, yeah, maybe they should get the 10 spot. They don't. So I'm just going to list them off. Pablo Lopez, Mackenzie Gore, Yuri Perez, Chase Burns, Nathan Eovaldi, Jacob deGrom, Jared Jones when he's healthy, Brian Wu, Cole Reagans when he's healthy, Spencer Steer, and the last one, or not Spencer Steer, Spencer Strider, and the last one, Zach Wheeler. He's amazing. He's just boringly amazing sometimes. And I'm super grateful to have him on my fantasy team. But if I was like, oh, this guy's going to be a fun guy to watch pitch, it's usually like six shutout with 5 Ks. Like, it's great, don't get me wrong, but it's not that exciting sometimes. He's just really good. So that takes us to number 10. And who do you have at number 10?
So we'll start off with a reliever. That was one of the things I was so confused on. Who should I include? I decided to include Aroldis Chapman at number 10. I feel like every time he's closing out a game, I got to see how he does it. Is he going to embarrass somebody? Is he going to hit 104 again? It is awesome, and he's in his late 30s, and it's like he hasn't skipped a beat.
He is a bundle of excitement when you watch him pitch. He's all over the place or either completely locked in, like he's been pretty much this whole year, actually, for the Red Sox. My number 10, it's going to be a rookie. I realized when making this list that maybe it's just like the lack of amount of times that I've seen a rookie is making it so I want to see him more. So I kind of like adjusted for inflation there.
Okay.
And just based off of their own specific performances, how I like them. I'll start off with Jacob Bizarowski. In the first few starts, I've watched all of them, and he's been really fun to watch. The biggest thing with him right now, he is being pretty babied by the Brewers organization, which makes it a bit less fun to watch because you're not going to see him work into 85, 95 pitches later into his performance. And I think that does take it down a little bit. But as far as the performance goes, he's hitting 101, 102, ridiculous sliders at 96 miles per hour, curveballs at 90 something. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And overall, he's been one of the most fun pitchers to watch in baseball this year. Number 9.
At number 9, I will go with Mason Miller. This is the highest reliever I have on here, probably because he's our closer, but also another guy who can just absolutely let it rip. It's funny to see him embarrass people. He's been a little bit off this season, but part of the experience of watching Mason Miller live is you get to hear Dallas Braden talking about it too, and talking about, oh, you got some high cheese in your Kraft cheese singles cart back there, Jenny, and it's great. Adds to the power.
I was gonna say analogies from Dallas make it better, but I don't even know if they're analogies. I think he's just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
My number 9 guy is gonna be Max Fried, though, and one of my favorite things is Max Fried is how he holds on runners and his pickoff move. I think has like 15, 16 pickoffs over the last couple of years in the MLB. And I was just watching this past game against the Blue Jays, he actually didn't have a great start, but just the way that he holds on, guys, is really fun to watch. His stuff is good as well too. Fun delivery, smooth, silky lefty that throws pretty hard as well, and is having a really good year for the Yankees. Number 8.
At number 8, I will go Mizorowski on the list. I missed the homer he gave up today, but other than that, I try to catch him. And it's like you said, he could be a top 3 guy on here potentially in the future if they let him go more than 5 innings in a game. But some of the stuff he throws, we have not seen ever. So got to watch it.
My number 8 is going to be Shohei Ohtani. Right now, it's super limited because we're only getting a couple innings of him each time that he's out there. Once he's back up to 80, 90 pitches per outing, I'm sure he'll boost up on this list. But I've watched pretty much all of his starts at this point for this year at least. Watched the majority of his starts in 2023, 2022. He's just so fun and such an anomaly. As far as if he was just a pitcher, I don't think he'd be nearly as high on this list. But being who he is and knowing this guy has the capability to be one of the top guys on our other list for must-see hitters, it makes it alone oh yeah, I should probably watch this guy when he pitches as well too. And he's really damn good as well. So that factors into it. Number 7.
At number 7, I'm going to go with Logan Webb. Another situation where it may not be the flashiest guy, but I like how he works really quick. Whenever I was starting a game, I would want to work quick like that, get whatever kind of out you can get. And maybe it's, again, the bias of just being a great Northern California player with a long career who may end up in the Hall of Fame someday. I don't want to miss it. He's having a fantastic career.
A bit of a sleeper one here I put at number 7. It's going to be Michael King from the San Diego Padres. And his sinker, his delivery, his cross-cutting action that he has is really fun to watch when he mixes it in well with his slurve or slider, whatever he throws. All of his pitches move a shit ton, and he's striking out just about everybody that he faces. Right now, I believe he just got added to the 60-day IL from the 10-day IL that he's been on since late May. But he's fun to watch when he's on, and maybe a bit of a sleeper, but every time that he gets the ball, it's a guy that I like to watch pitch. Number 6.
At number 6, I'm going to go with Spencer Strider. I still believe in him. And when he was coming up, it kind of reminded me of maybe not quite Paul Skeens, but what everybody else is doing around the Mizorowskis of the world. And, he's back. He's still striking guys out at a ridiculous rate. We got to see him more. But I think at the end of the day, it's still some of the best stuff you're going to see from a starter.
Number 6 is one of our favorites. It's going to be Logan Gilbert. Big right-handed guy that throws harder and strikes out more people as he's gotten older into his career. A pretty unique delivery as well too. Unique looking guy as well. Got the high socks, sometimes long hair and a weird looking face. I know these are weird things to talk about when it's must see, but all these factors go into it when you're actually watching the product on television. It's not just the numbers behind the stuff, and the stuff's really damn good as well too. But a ton of extension. He's just super unique. And he's really damn good as well too. And I think he's got a fun demeanor to go with it. So Logan Gilbert gets my number 6 spot. Number 5 into the top 5. Skyler, who do you choose?
Yeah, we'll kick up the top 5 with Garrett Crochet. Another situation, kind of like your Gilbert pick, really funky lefty. And he also throws very hard. It is starting to become a more common archetype we see with starting pitchers. And I'm all for it because he's absolutely filthy. It's almost like he has a closer's approach to starting games, and maybe that'll get him up into some trouble with pitch count in the future. But the way that he just will throw that slider directly into your kneecap, I love it from the left side.
No. My number 4 and 5 are very similar. I said one guy a little bit higher. My number 5 is going to be Framber Valdez. Fun lefty. Tight curveball, knows where all of his stuff is going and just wants to get outs, man. That's his biggest thing. He doesn't care about strikeouts. But when he's the guy that is facing the A's, I absolutely hate it. I know he's just going to dominate us the entire game, probably get to the game in 65 pitches. He goes deep in games often. And when he's on, man. it's fun stuff, and his stuff itself isn't specifically crazy. He just knows what to do with it so well that makes it it's nowhere near Greg Maddux, but it's kind of like that same type of good where he knows what he's doing to you so much that it makes it fun to watch. Number 4.
All right, number 4, I got Shohei Ohtani on the list too. A little higher because it's Shohei Ohtani. And I knew that he was going to be on this list for probably everybody too, because his first start, everybody had to watch it. Even though it was just one inning, it wasn't great. It was a little wild. It's Shohei Ohtani. You're going to watch him pitch, right? No one's ever done this before, and he's got to be in the top 5 for me, at least.
Number 4, I'll say this guy's like the right-handed Framber Valdez. Let me see if you can guess it.
Right-handed Framber. Not on my list. Kirby?
No, you mentioned him already.
I don't know.
Because I feel like these guys are similar. It's Logan Webb. I feel like very similar in the way that they go deep in games. Only cares about getting outs. Doesn't care about strikeouts. Works super quick as well too. And I think Logan Webb's got a fun motion to watch as well too, where he kind of kicks his arms out and his glove or his leg the opposite way. And the velo's gone up, but he's got a cool mustache as well too. So Logan Webb, good chance to be a Cy Young top few contender once we get down to it by the end of the season. Cracks my top 4. Number 3.
All right. At 3, I'm going Jacob deGrom. He's still in my top 3. He's 37, and he's still untouchable. Nobody knows what's going on in his head, and they can't track his pitching either. 2.29 ERA this season, dude. Unbelievable. I was really hoping he would have a full season, but I thought it'd be more of the Kershaw arc. He comes back. Everyone's happy when he goes 5 innings, 4 runs because, hey, he made it this far. It's all good. He doesn't have to prove anything else, but he's still absolutely dominating. It's awesome. I got to watch deGrom.
Yeah, I was going to put deGrom on my list. If this was 2022, easily, with number 1, without a doubt. But at this point, the velo's kicked down a little bit. He's still fun to watch. That's why he was an honorable mention. But just it doesn't feel – he's still great, but not as dominant as what he once was. Maybe, still should be on it, but – number 3 for me is going to be Garrett Crochet. You mentioned him earlier. He's a fun lefty who is such an anomaly in the way that he pitches as well, too. It's primarily fastball cutter that he throws, all the time. And he throws the cutter so uniquely that it kind of feels like a slider as well. And just dominating with those 2 pitches. I remember watching his start against Seattle maybe a couple weeks ago now at this point. But he would just throw shit down the middle and it'd still fuck them up because they can't see it. It's 102. It feels like sometimes as well too. And he just strikes everybody out. And when you're striking everybody out and you're in that dominant form, you become one of the most fun pitchers to watch in the league. And now he's going deep in games as well too, which I think is fun. We have 2 guys left, and I believe I know who these 2 guys are. How'd you order them? Who's your number 2?
I decided to go with Skeens at number 2. The other guy, I feel like he surprises me every single week, so maybe he does deserve it now. And we'll get into that in a second. Paul Skeens, wouldn't be surprised if he's your number 1. He's most people's number 1s. Dominant, ridiculous stuff. Still learning new pitches to this day. And only 1 season of service time. I don't know what else to say about Paul Skeens. You got to watch him, especially against a big-time team.
Number 2 for me is also going to be Paul Skeens. Super fun to watch. Just the calmness about him all the time as well too. It's he doesn't care, but he's still the best at his craft. And obviously we know he does care. If you watch his pregame routine as well too, it seems like every opposing broadcast will show him doing his water stuff when it's on his back, throwing a football and all these unique things. Just how he goes about his craft is really fun to watch. And he's such a big figure out there as well too that his stuff is just fun to watch. I run out of words to say about him, but it's just he's got it all as a pitcher. If you were to build a pitcher, it would be Paul Skeens. He's He's the prototype. But number one just got something about him.
Yeah, that's Tarek Skubal. When he came up, man, he was kind of looking like that crafty lefty. And nothing wrong with that, of course. But all of a sudden, the velocity comes, and he's closing out games with over 100. This is left-handed Justin Verlander. And, oh, yeah, he doesn't walk anybody either. He's maybe the most accurate pitcher in the league right now. It's unbelievable. And that's the reason I'm assuming we both bumped him up to number one is because it's something different every week. It's the Maddox. It's throwing 102 in the ninth inning. It's complete games. It's great. And not a lot of guys can do that these days.
Yeah, number one's Tarek. Scoobs is ridiculous to watch. Coming from the left side as well, too, I think just makes it so much more. And having that, like, kind of funky delivery where he's got a high leg lift and then his glove comes up when he throws as well, too, I think makes it a bit more fun to watch. And the biggest thing with him, like, obviously the stuff is great. The results are amazing. But the demeanor and the confidence when he's on the mound is, like, second to none. Like, he knows he's going to fucking – like strike you out every single time he's up. When it was, I believe his first start in Cleveland in that ALDS series last year, and he was coming off the mound, and he was like yelling at the camera when he was coming off the mound, like, oh, like this guy knows he's him. And when you are in that spot and you are him, and like, it's one thing to show it like just from your work, but to show it like knowing it to the rest of the world is something that we don't see from like Skeens, or we never saw from DeGrom when he was with the Mets. But Skubal, like he soaks it up. He soaks up the moment. He'll engage with the crowd. He'll do all that stuff. He's the best pitcher in baseball right now, and he's ridiculous, man. He's so dominant. On to the hitter side of this as well now too. Our top 10 must-see hitters. Seems like there's going to be one pitcher that we'll talk about in this as well too. But any honorable mentions that you got before we get into the top 10?
Yeah, I don't like him, but honestly, Jose Altuve should be mentioned here because he can go deep at any moment despite being 5'6".
I've got some more obscure names, I would say, in my honorable mentions that I just like watching. Riley Green is not obscure, but he's dominant. Roman Anthony's got that prospect treatment right now where you just want to see him just because. Nick Kurtz is becoming a must-watch hitter. This past month, Joe Waddell has been a must-watch hitter. Rafael Devers and his go-about-itness in the batter's box, I think, warrants honorable mention. Mike Trout is always on this list. Augustine Ramirez from the Miami Marlins and his pop and his aggressive swing is fun to watch. Funky Stanton, Toronto, Addison Barger is becoming one of my favorite guys to watch. And then 4 contact guys, Luis Arias, Jacob Wilson, Stephen Kwan, and Chandler Simpson. When we played the Rays like a week or two ago and I was watching him, I got nervous when he was hitting, not just because he was going to hit a ball out, but just because like he hit a routine ground ball to shortstop and Max Schumann would get it and like chuck it as hard as he possibly could to first and get Simpson by a step. And like, damn, like I need to watch this guy hit every single time he's up because you never know what's going to happen. Except for a homer. Out of the park homer. It's never going to happen.
Yep.
So we'll get into our top 10. And who you got it there? Number 10.
Yeah. We'll start off with Vlad Jr. Similar to another guy on my list where it doesn't matter if he's slumping or on fire. His approach is going to be the same every single game, which is rare to see. And a career many of us have watched very closely, just waiting for him to get some more opportunities, maybe get higher on this list someday.
I think something with hitters as well, too. For me, watching is like the confidence of the guy and knowing how good they are. And number 10 kind of embodies that right now. And that's Junior Caminero. He like is fully aware like how good he is. And when he hits a ball, he pimps the shit out of it because like, what are you going to do about it? Like he's going to hit another homer his next at bat. Only 21 years old. I think with him, we've kind of, I don't know. I feel like we've lost that idea that he is 21 years old because he's been in the know for so long and he's not technically a rookie. Like this guy's younger than who's going to win the American League and National League Rookies of the Year this year. Like he's nuts and he's really coming into his own, I think, the last couple of months. So Junior Caminero just makes my list at number 10. Number 9.
At number 9, I'm going with Matty O. I feel like he's always going to be that kind of guy for me. And there's a lot of guys on this list that are like him too. Spoiler, I guess. But if you can homer in any moment, in any game, have a lot of confidence, big theme here, I'm going to watch you. And it helps that he was such a big fan favorite for us for many years too.
Number 9 is a guy that you mentioned, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Obviously, we've seen this guy throughout his pro career be the number 1 prospect, come up on his first career hit against the A's, and just being the limelight for pretty much the entirety of his career. The approach, how he hits as well too, is very unique. Swing pass being super level, hits the shit out of the ball. Doesn't matter if it's backside or pull, like he will crush it. Big dude as well too, I think matters. Like he's got a big swing, and usually when you got those big swings, it's rare to see a guy who doesn't swing and miss much. And he's in that category. So Vladdy Jr. makes my number 9 spot. Number 8.
I do have Junior Caminero on my list. He's at number 8. And a lot of the things you mentioned, I don't know if anyone swings the bat harder than this guy right now. I know we do have some stats for that, so maybe we'll take a look in the future. But yeah, for a guy who's not as big as an Aaron Judge, he definitely swings a bat like he is.
Yeah. Number 8, I like your Matty O pick, but I'm going Kyle Schwarber here. Maybe you have him on your list as well too. Who knows? He's one of those dudes that feels like he could just hit a ball 550 feet like whenever. Maybe also playing in Citizens Bank Park and playing in Red October brings that like up a little bit because we have seen him do it and in big games. And just like his swing is so fun to watch. It's very simple. He's very calm at the plate, but man, when he gets a hold of one, like he will hit some of the like most no doubters that you will see in your life. And when he's locked in, like June Kyle Schwarber, a couple years ago when he was with the Nats, I want to say, and he hit like 9 homers in like two hours. It felt like when he's locked in, he's so fun to watch. Number 7.
At 7, I did put Jacob Wilson on my list. Definitely a biased pick. But the thing about Jacob Wilson being a contact hitter is something's always going to happen. Similar to the Chandler Simpson. It's not the speed here, but this guy doesn't strike out. There's always going to be a play that has to be made after Jacob Wilson's at bat is over.
No. Number 7 is, maybe it's disrespected. I put Cal Raleigh at number 7. Maybe he should be higher. Maybe it's just because this is really first year of being this type of hitter. But he's hit some bombs this year that are just ridiculous. From both sides of the play as well, too. He's not a switch hitter that gives up on one side of the plate. He will hit nukes from the left and the right side. Maybe he's just like, he's kind of in that Zach Wheeler category right now where he's boringly good, but it's like, damn, he hit another homer today. Like, that's pretty ridiculous. Really good. Obviously not like a guy that's hitting 300 or anything like that, but just such a large human being that it's a guy that you need to watch because this guy can hit the ball a mile. Number 6.
At number 6, I'm going to go with one of the only smaller guys on the list. It's J-Ram. Another situation where he's always driving into the gap. There's going to be a big play that has to be made. Another situation with J-Ram is his team doesn't score very many runs right now. So when he's up, he has to do something or they're going to lose 1-0 again. And whenever J-Ram's on TV, I make sure to finish the at-bat at least before I switch the channel.
Number 6, and this may be more is from the left side of the plate than the right side of the plate. I'm putting Ellie De La Cruz here. The career splits indicate that he's a way better hitter from the left side than the right side. Maybe he'll eventually switch to fully being lefty. Who knows? But when he's in that left batter's box in Great American Ballpark with that short of a right field, I'm going to go. Like, this guy can hit one over them seats and into whatever river or whatever the fuck they have back there in Cincinnati. Also the speed with him and just like if he hits the ball in the gap, it's immediate triple watch. He's also running around with all these chains on all the time as well too, and you never know what color he's going to be wearing. So I think just watching him at the plate is so unique as a figure for baseball as well too. You don't often see a 6'6" super lanky shortstop, and I think he deserves to be in this spot more than O'Neal Cruz, who holds the record for the hardest hit baseball just because of the consistency factor. Maybe Ellie hasn't been the most consistent in his career, but over this past couple of months, he's turned it on and has become the superstar shortstop that we expected him to be when he first came up. Number 5.
At 5, I do still have Kyle Schwarber on my list at 5 because he's always going to be here for me. It's the massive presence in the box, left-handed, and he's so clutch. It feels like he always comes through in big situations. He's got a homer in basically every single playoff round. That includes international play. And again, he's still doing it. It's kind of like the pitcher's list. When you want to include that older guy, that's Kyle Schwarber because he hasn't fallen off yet.
Number 5 is a new one. It's going to be James Wood. He has been nuts this year. Something with him last year, which I think was super frustrating when you watch him play, is that he wouldn't pull the baseball, but he'd inside out a pitch like 440 the other way, and that's just not something that you really see anybody do except for maybe a couple guys on this list higher than him. This year, he's learned how to pull a baseball, and when he gets a hold of one, it's such a quick trigger. It's such a pretty swing. It's like a I don't really know how to describe it, but like if you were to make a swing and you were to make the bat path of a guy hitting a home run, his is like the guy that you want to follow because it's so quick, it's so unique, and just like the power on this dude for not being. I mean, I know he's big, but he's not like muscular big. It's pretty cool with James Wood, and being how young he is, he's been on this list for a while, I think. Number 4.
At number 4, I still have Juan Soto on my list. This was the guy I was hinting at while talking about Vlad Jr. Whether he's slumping or on fire, he knows how important it is when he's up late in the game. He's got a ridiculous eye, almost like a computer. He's been getting the Ted Williams comparisons. And for those reasons, I think he's going to be a guy who's always on this list because we know we're watching one of the best when it comes to superlatives in baseball. He is the best at what he does, getting on base.
My number 4 is also Juan Soto. And I like the I don't know if it was like a nickname or something there, the computer.
Yeah.
I know we were used to that in the Bear. That show that both of us watched.
I was going to ask you about him at one point. I forgot.
He could be computer. Raider fan, by the way, for computer, which is pretty fun. But Juan Soto. The computer could be a fun nickname for him because that makes sense. He's very yes and no. Like he is the ABS. It feels like when he's at the plate, like he knows what's a ball and a strike. When he's locked in as well too and doing the Soto shuffle, I know he really hasn't done it this year, but when he's doing that, like that makes takes fun to watch as well too, and just how he will like take a cut, foul it back, and just be like nodding his head, looking straight at the pitcher. He's yeah, throw that shit again, motherfucker, and it's gone. Like that, you don't see that confident cockiness much in a hitter. There's one other guy I think in this list that has that, and that's why he's higher than him. But Juan Soto in the box is a guy that you will have your eyes glued to, whether the pitch is coming or not, because he's always entertaining. Number 3.
At number 3, I'm going to go with Aaron Judge. Talk about a big presence in the box. You can tell most pitchers don't want anything to do with him, or else he's going to take them deep. You know, I tried to make this list about 95% just off of this year because there are a bunch of guys. I could have had Tatis up here, some more big power hitters, but there is one more guy at my 2 spot that I put over Aaron Judge just for this season because of what's on the line. But back to Aaron Judge, just a monster, Hall of Famer. Randy Johnson as a hitter because it seems like he's only getting better into his mid-30s, which doesn't happen in this sport, man. So he's definitely up here.
And my number 3 is going to be Shohei. This was tough to put Judge or Shohei here. I do have one other guy that isn't those two, but I put Shohei at 3. I obviously watch every single time he's up. Like if I see that he's coming up to the plate, it's notable. People shout on the 3 batters till Shohei graphic that the Fox thing showed in the playoffs, but they know that's when their viewers peak. That's when people are watching. That's when people got their eyes glued to the screen. He sells tickets alone. Like that's a big thing with him. And just like the the coolness of Shohei and the I would say nonchalantness either, but like the he's so good, and he's like so humble while being so good as well too, which I think is pretty rare. We don't often see him like do anything crazy. I think we've seen like one or two bat flips in his entire career, but man, when he gets a hold of one, it's like watch out the next city over. Number two.
At number two, I decided to put Cal Raleigh over Aaron Judge, even though, there's a clear top two players in baseball. Just for this scenario, Cal Raleigh's got a lot on the line. He's got a chance to do something that no catcher's ever done. That makes me want to watch every at-bat, just in case I miss it.
Number two is where I slot Aaron Judge. So there's one guy that you haven't mentioned that I have my number one spot. Aaron Judge is ridiculous. Like, obviously, having one of the greatest seasons that we've ever seen. It's slowed down, I feel like, a little bit over the past month or so, but still, when he comes up, like any part of the ballpark, in any ballpark, it's fair game. He's also kind of become boringly good as well, too. Sometimes because he's just been so good for 5-6 years stretch now at this point. But Aaron Judge is Aaron Judge. He's ridiculous. And another dude that's like unique figure as well too. You don't see like 6'9" baseball players ever. So he's in here. Number one.
So yeah, I got Shohei Ohtani at number one. Talk about confidence. That's been a big theme today. This is the most confident baseball player I think I've ever seen. And it's funny because, like you mentioned, he was always cool, but it wasn't until he got to LA where this flip switched, and now he is the most competitive player alive, maybe in any sport. And it's great. This guy deserves it. He is the most famous player right now for a reason. And I also think that's why he's the number one must-watch hitter, too.
My number one must-watch hitter, I'd talk about aura. I'd talk about coolness. And I think this guy embodies that when you also include the production. It's going to be Ronald Acuna Jr. Like, this guy at the plate is ridiculous when he's up. Whether it's his stuff with Jose Urena a couple of years ago where he just got thrown at every single time against the Marlins. Whether it's like the first pitch bomb he hit this year in his first at-bat. Whether it's the random yellow accessories that he wears for no reason. Like, this dude is all over the place. He is ridiculously confident. So some of the coolest celebrations I've ever seen with like the grenade where he just throws it at the umpire and does like the cover your ears stuff. That's crazy. Running around the bases. He does not give a shit like what you think about him. If you're going to hit him, who cares? He'll still second and third on you. This year, he hasn't stolen as many bases. Understandably so because he's tore his ACL twice. But Ronald Acuna, man, like this guy is so cool at the plate. He's the guy to watch. I don't specifically remember him having like any crazy walk-off home runs. I know he had that grand slam in like 2018 against Walker Buehler in the playoffs, but like when this guy's going, like also because he leads off, I think it matters as well too. Like first batter of the game, like you gotta be locked in. He's so damn good, and also knows he's very good.
Yeah, completely missed on him. Completely forgot. Maybe because he was hurt this year.
I almost forgot about him. Like I was making my list, and it's like, okay, Soto, Judge, Ohtani. Like, oh shit! Like I need to put this guy somewhere on here.
Exposed.
But maybe trying to think of if there's a prospect right now that I would put on this list if they were to get up to the big leagues. But I don't really think there is.
Someday.
Eldridge would be interesting. Maybe less so because he's a giant. I think that factors in for like me specifically. Look at the top prospects right now, but like Leo DeVries doesn't have that. Walcott doesn't have that. McGonigal, like maybe, but he's also short. So I think that makes it a bit less exciting. Connor Griffin might actually have that when he's up. He's going to be fun to watch. Bazana, maybe.
Going to need to have a lot of aura.
DeLatter, Zara Montez, Jair Hope. I don't know. Some interesting names to throw out there that might be on these lists if we did it like 3 years from now. Avi Arquette. Anyways, moving on to the second half.
Yeah, I just quickly wanted to mention that the MLB draft is next week. So I'm pretty sure the first round is Monday night. And we will definitely be talking Sunday night. Even better. Yeah. Perfect. What's up with everything being on Sunday night or Wednesday evening during the summer?
It's how things are, bro.
It's weird.
They don't care, man. But I think it's like the first 2 rounds that they're doing on Sunday, and then the next like 18 rounds all on Monday, which would be crazy. But
that sounds good with me, man.
I think the A's pick on day 1, it's only 11-48. So if you are an A's fan, watch out for that. Hopefully we take somebody good. A sleeper pick that I'm not seeing too often to the A's that I think that they could take, and I'm beginning to feel a bit more confident in this take, is Ike Irish.
Okay.
Outfielder / catcher. One of the highest like bat tools or hit tools in the college scheme this year, or college world. I don't know why I said scheme, but
we love our backup catchers, man.
We love our bats as well too. College bats, ready bats. And it seems like that's kind of what we did, especially with Wilson, but with Kurtz now as well too. The most sure college bat is the way that we've gone. And Ike Irish seems like the guy that would be there at number 11 for us as far as sure college bats go.
Hope he can hit with
Who cares about defense? Yeah, hopefully. Who cares about pitching?
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we get some good people. But next week we will go over all 1,000 picks, grading them.
20 through 80.
Yeah, 20 through 80 scale for all of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll move into our bold predictions layup from this past week. We went 2 for 2 or 2 for 4. Last week I had St. Louis over Pittsburgh on Wednesday for my layup. That did not happen, unfortunately. Skyler had Chicago Cubs over the Cardinals on Friday.
Colin Ray, yeah.
That was a big game for the Cubs. I believe PCA made a really nice play in that one. Sacco's going for Skyler. This week I have the Cubs over the Minnesota Twins on Wednesday. That is a Cade Horton start versus David Festa. David Festa got beat up by the A's a couple months ago now at this point. So I'll go Cade Horton and the Cubs to get a dub here.
Okay. I saw something when I was just looking at random odds today, and I thought something was off here. I didn't mention it on purpose yet when we were talking about the MLB draft. The team that holds the number 1 pick, Washington Nationals, they fired Davey Martinez and their GM, Mike Rizzo, I think. So obviously something went haywire in the process leading up to the draft here. And most of the time, to me, that means they're going to go with the long-term play. And that would be Ethan Holiday, not Cade Anderson, who's the favorite right now. So I'm going to say Ethan Holiday does end up going number 1, plus 160. It's nothing to throw your house on, but it's something. It's positive odds for a guy who's been ranked number 1 all year.
I like that pick as well, too. I saw a tweet earlier today, actually, about Cade Anderson and his stuff from the college season to his start in the College World Series. College World Series, of course, he had a ridiculous game, went complete game shutout, like 130 pitches or whatever. But apparently his stuff was a lot worse in that game, specifically as far as like movement goes. And the ball that they use in the College World Series, I guess, is a lot more similar to the MILB ball, which is obviously a lot more similar to the MLB ball than what they use during the normal college season. So perhaps that's something to notice. Maybe it was just Cade Anderson getting tired over the course of 130 pitches and, having to do something else to keep himself good. But I guess his fastball really, really dipped as far as vertical movement goes in that College World Series start, which didn't affect him. He was still dominant.
Interesting.
But we'll move into our bold predictions from this past week. Last week, I don't have the odds on this, but I said all 3 doubleheaders will split on Wednesday, and they did. It was the Tigers versus the Nationals. Tigers won the first one. Nationals won the second one. Padres versus the Phillies. Padres won the first one. Phillies won the second one. Brewers versus Mets. Brewers won the first one. Mets won the second one. And then there was kind of like a 4th doubleheader where it was like a resumed game between the Reds and the Red Sox. That split as well too. So I even got a bonus one in there. So that goes green. Again, don't know the odds. Maybe it was, plus 100 or whatever, but
I had to clap
that
it
goes
up for
green.
you on that one. It was definitely more than plus 100 because I remember checking in on like after all game ones were done, and I was like, all right, let's see, where's Boston's plus 270? Ooh, and what they won. Like, oh
Yeah,
my God.
there we go, man. There we
Yeah.
go. And then Skyler had Washington over Boston on Friday. That one did not happen,
Soroka
unfortunately.
got smacked.
This week, Arizona and the Padres are playing. Tomorrow's game is Brandon Pfaadt versus Dylan Cease. I trust Brandon Pfaadt, who's had a rough year against a rough San Diego Padres lineup over the past month or so, against Dylan Cease, who's had an interesting year against one of the best lineups in the league in the Arizona Diamondbacks. So give me the Diamondbacks to win that one. Don't know the score, but I'll say 6-3.
Okay. Also going with a single MLB game here Friday night. Seattle's going to win in Detroit. Casey Mize, great season. Unbelievable. Number one pick revives his career. But the guy who beat them last time when they played Detroit was Luis Castillo. He shut them out. We'll say 2-1 Seattle in this one. Real low scoring game.
That's going to do it, though, for episodes 252. Next week, 253. Get back into power rankings. We'll know the MLB draft stuff. We will be going on during the All-Star game, maybe just before the All-Star game, actually, depending on when we record. So we'll know the Home Run Derby winner. We don't even know all the Home Run Derby participants yet.
Yeah.
Do you have the guy out of the 5 we know that you want to pick? Or are you going to wait on the rest of the field?
I would hope that Cal Raleigh would be able to at least get to the finals with the season that he's having. But, dude, I'm rooting for Acuna.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I'm going to go hasn't been named yet. I'm guessing Brent Rooker.
That would be a change of plans right there.
Yeah. He said that he'd do it if they asked him, but I guess they haven't asked him yet. Maybe he's like a plan B, but he's already going to be there because he's an all-star.
I mean, they asked Buxton.
So,
yeah.
I think right now it's what Raleigh, Acuna, James Wood, Buxton. Is Buxton doing it, or did he say no? Buxton, and then O'Neal Cruz, I think, is the other guy that they mentioned.
Okay.
So 3 more guys to go? Maybe 2 if I'm missing one. But
Wilson.
Lee Reyes, Chandler Simpson from Atlanta, actually. But that'll do it for episode 252. We'll see you guys next week. Any party notes, guys?
About it. Just going to go finish my team builder.
Nice.
I'll tell you about it right after this.
Awesome.
This message from Geico.
Oh, yeah. Geico.